You can research any health topic better than most doctors' offices using tools that cost nothing. In our last newsletter, I mentioned how I use AI to research cognitive decline in Alzheimer's, and several readers replied asking me to show them how I'm doing it. So here are the steps. First, I'm using Google Scholar for peer-reviewed research. Then I'm using YouTube to find practitioners who've actually done the work. I'm not looking for influencers, I'm looking for medical doctors, researchers who actually are doing high-level discussions of what they're doing. And then lastly, I use a free AI tool called NotebookLM that pulls all this research-dense material together and then presents it in a way that is understandable. I'm using Alzheimer's research as the example today because that's my world, but this process works for anything. Autoimmune, metabolic health, gut issues, whatever you're trying to understand. And if you stick around to the end, I'm going to show you how I automate this entire process using AI. And so it'll take a couple of minutes, maybe an hour, as opposed to multiple hours of work. And as always, if you're not subscribed to the newsletter yet, there's going to be a link in the description, and there's always a link in the bio. Now, let me share my screen.
All right, everyone. So if you look at the top part of my screen here, I'm going to show you some tabs we have open. So we have Google Scholar, we have YouTube, we have a Google document to put all the links that we're going to need for today, and then we also have NotebookLM opened, and then this is the screen recording software I'm using, just in case you're wondering. So a little bit about Google Scholar, right? So this is a platform where you are able to search research articles, right? And listen, I'm a health coach. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a research scientist. While I know that there is valuable information in these research papers, that doesn't necessarily mean I can understand it. So what we're going to do today is we are going to pull some of the research papers and then feed them into AI. So then that way the output is very digestible for someone who doesn't have a background in reading the type of science that is presented in these research papers. So I've already done a little bit of the work just to kind of speed up time. But what we're going to do today, as you can see, it's already pre-filled in. And this is something I really want you guys to understand when you're searching on Google Scholar to start, right? You want to search for longer bits of information, right? Like as opposed to searching just on this example, cognitive decline, I'm actually searching for cognitive decline reversal protocol clinical trial, okay? And then that is going to narrow down the focus a little bit, but this is the first phase of the search. And so we're going to go ahead and implement this search. And as you can see, what it does is it gives us all of these research papers. And now Google Scholar, much like Google, your normal search engine, right, tries to figure out what information is most relative, what's more important, and then there's ways for you to adjust that info. So as you can see, you can do by articles since that are brand new, custom date ranges, ones that include patents, clinical trials, etc. But as you can see, right, that the first one here that comes up is this paper by Dr. Dale E. Bredesen, and if you look at the data here, it has been cited 447 times. It has a bunch of related articles. There's 31 versions of it. So now I'm able to go and kind of click on that, it opening up, and then I typically will look at the abstract, right? And I'll just sort of peruse that to see if it's containing information that is relevant. As you can see, there's some keywords down here: Alzheimer's, dementia, mild cognitive decline, impairment. So this research paper here, I would classify this as something that we want to add to our list and utilize it as the learning material that the AI is going to pull from. Okay, so that's really what we're doing. We're giving AI, instead of it searching everything, we're going to really limit its scope, give it really detailed scientific papers, and then extract that information in a way that's very understandable for us. So what you do is you capture this information into a Google Doc. I've already done a lot of this. I didn't want to make a video of me doing a lot of cutting and pasting. But as you can see, right, this is foundational research. This is the primary, right? And this is that first article that we just looked at. And then there's also a handful of other articles I was able to find. So basically so we did this blanket search, right? If we look at our search topics here, cognitive decline reversal protocol clinical trial. Based off of that information, we now specialize it one tier down. So I've looked at all of this, and as you can see, there's lots of this Dale Bredesen doctor. He's doing a lot of the research. So the next key search we did, right, because we want to find out more about this doctor in particular. So now we can go back to Google Scholar, implement this information in here, right? And then it's going to bring up even more data specific to this RECODE protocol, this Dr. Dale Bredesen. So I'm using a multi-layered search. So a key search around a very particular topic. And then once I start to review that topic and understand that topic a little bit, I will once again narrow my search again to get very specific information. And then the last thing on my search I want us to look at, right, is I look for any criticisms or limitations. So, we are in the health and wellness space. There's lots of conflicting information. There's, I have people saying, only eat, a carnivore meat-based diet, and then here's the research, and then someone else, on the other end of the spectrum is saying, no, only eat a vegan diet, here's the research. So one of the searches I like to do is tell me all this information, and then tell me all the arguments against. So I've done that research as well, and all of that is included into this document. And like I said, this is all cut and paste, and I'm just organizing this in a way that AI is going to be able to utilize it, right? That's the point of all of this, is setting up a system so that the AI can review all of this and then give you that information back in a way that is understandable to you. So next, so now that we have these links, and you can see here search topics, I go to YouTube, and then I search YouTube for Bredesen protocol Alzheimer doctor explains, right? So I only want videos where an actual MD, a medical doctor or PhD, like someone credentialed, someone who does the work, is actually speaking about it, right? I'm not looking for influencers. I'm not looking for patients. I really want to hear what the professionals are saying regarding. So now I go to YouTube, right? All of this is free. Google Scholar is free, YouTube is free. And as you can see, here is my search, and it brings all these videos here. And we can go through these, look at these, and as you can see, this is the gentleman, the Dr. Dale Bredesen, and he has a lot of videos talking about this Alzheimer's reversal protocol, RECODE, PRECODE. So I've captured a handful of these links as well. So now I have a document, and like I said, I'm just using Google Docs, once again, a free resource. And now I have the terms I've searched for, and then foundational research. I've some different protocol details. And then when we get down here, I'm uploading, YouTube links, right? So who's in the YouTube, as well as, the link to that video to watch it, because the AI is actually going to review the video. And then there's some other data in there as well. And I use a formula to where there's a little bit of weight put on different views, right? So a high visibility overview. So this would be a video that has, quite a few views. It's a TEDx talk. Those typically do have a lot of views, just to kind of see. And then I've actually used AI to kind of make an order for this. So now that we have this document, right, what we're going to do is we're going to go up here, and we're going to go to download, and we're going to download it as a markdown file. Okay, AI, just FYI, loves information in this markdown format, and it's really just a text format, and it's a little confusing to read if you've never seen one, but just know that AI prefers that type of document as opposed to a PDF or just a Word document. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to download this, And then we're gonna go to another free tool, and this is all part of Google's ecosystem, right? So we have the Google Scholar, the YouTube, Google Docs, and then lastly, we have, as you can see, notebooklm.google.com. And let me go back to the homepage on this. So this is kind of what this page looks like. As you can see, I have multiple notebooks here about different information, but we're gonna create a new, and then it's going to ask us, right, like, where should I pull this information from? And instead of pasting links and doing all that, we've already done all that, we're just gonna upload a file. And we're gonna upload the markdown file. So the NotebookLM Research Cognitive Decline Recode Protocol.md, that's the markdown file. So we're gonna go ahead and open that. And we are going to provide that to NotebookLM, and it's going to go ahead and rapidly review all of that content, okay? And now it is using that as its source information. So here in the middle, right? So we have our sources here on the left, and then here in the middle, right? We actually have a kind of a chat room, right? So we can go in here and ask questions about the information we've already uploaded. So, and as you can see, it's got a couple of questions for us to already ask. So instead of me typing something out, I'm just gonna click on this one. So what are the core components of the RECODE protocol? Okay, we had all that scientific information. We had all those YouTube videos, by the way, that we did not watch, right? We maybe saw an overview, we saw a couple pieces of it. We can always go back and watch later. But I'm really trying to gain as much information as possible in the least amount of time possible. So better use of time is doing the research this way. And then if I want to get into the more nuanced discussion of it, I can always go back and watch the video. So we're going to go ahead and click on this, and then it's going to go through all of the data, right? It's running its sequence, and we're going to go ahead and see what comes out on the output. So basically, based off of the research papers as well as the YouTube videos, it gives you, right, a lot of information that you can now understand. And then it also references that information, where it came from. So you can click on it and go, oh, and it comes back to the information we put in. So, right, so it looks like this protocol has basically 5 different mechanisms, right? The metabolic biochemical, food, right? Lifestyle, right? That's optimizing sleep, that's physical exercise, and then inflammation and pathogen management. So let's looking at what's in your body that's causing inflammation. That could be heavy metals, that could be mold, anything regarding that, and then how to remove it. And then the last part of this is actually, right, stimulating your brain, right? What are you doing for brain exercises? So kind of a five-tier program he's developed. And like I said, we have all this information about it, but it gets even more useful than that. And this is really what's mind-blowing. So some of us are learners who, you know, reading is great and that's how we learn, but other people like to learn through audio. And then some people, you know, are also visual learners. So if you look over here to the right, you have this studio section. So what we're gonna do is I'm going to, first off, if we wanna run a report, right? Like say you learn best by reading, okay? So let's go ahead and run a report, and it's gonna have some clearly defined formats you can use. And then it's gonna load a couple other suggestions. We're gonna see what these suggestions are and before we make a decision, but you can really go through here. So we're gonna do scientific discourse overview, study guide. Let's go ahead, let's just create a briefing doc, right? So basically it's going to be a document that's gonna give us an overview of all the information we put in, and it's going to go ahead and generate that. While that's generating, let's go ahead for visual, like a slide deck, right? If you're a visual learner, you can create, you know, a 10 to 15 slide. The AI actually determines what all is going to happen. And then we're going to build a slide deck. You have, right, different options here. You can do a detailed deck. You can do a presenter deck. Let's do detail. Let's see what it says. And then you have the ability to customize it as well, right? So I could write in here. So this component's, you know, high level outline for the guide. So yeah, let's just go ahead and go with the flow. We'll click generate. It's gonna click on that. As you can see, the briefing doc is already done, but we're gonna start one other thing as well, because I think this is really helpful as well. So one of the things I do every day is I go on like little short 10 to 15 minute walks. And when I do, I typically listen to a podcast. Well, what we have the ability to do with this, and this is really mind blowing, is we can actually make a podcast. It's all utilizing AI to really understand this information. So now I can download an audio file, and while I'm going out, walking in nature, getting some fresh air, some steps, some exercise, I can listen to what's going on. So let's go. We can do a deep dive, we can do a brief, we can do a critique. You can have two different hosts debating it. So what it is, what it's not. So let's go ahead, let's do that. Let's click on debate, and then let's go to generate. And so it's gonna generate that. So when we come back here, we're gonna see that the briefing doc's already done. I'm gonna go ahead and click on that. Let me see if I can make this, no. So for now, this is it. So it makes an executive summary and really goes through all the data, okay? And it, talks about, clinical evidence, outcomes, really gives you, we pulled quite a bit of data, right? So we're looking at 7 different research papers. We're looking at, 5 or 6 YouTube videos. So, for you to research all of that, to go a deep dive into all that, I mean, you're looking at probably close to 40-hour work week to really, read and just absorb all of that. And like I said, I'm not a research scientist, so a lot of that is over my head. So how can I take the information and simplify it for me? And we could actually even, right, if we wanted to, let's shrink out of this, and then let's go to generate report. Let's go to create my own, and then we're gonna say, explain this information to me at an 8th grade level. And let's see. And so now, right, we're taking this very postgraduate information, and hopefully we're gonna have a report based in a level that's more understandable and digestible for you. Everything's still generating. It's going to take a minute. I'm going to pause, and as soon as everything's done, I'm going to come right back and I'm going to show you what all has been created. Okay, and we're back. It's been about 10 minutes. So that's about how long a NotebookLM needed to actually create the file. So I kind of want to show you a couple of different things. So we have 2 briefing docs. One is kind of a high level, and as you can see, this says simple guide. I'm going to actually, you can do this with this. Right? So let's click on that. And it's going to be very similar to the previous guide. It's just going to be done in a way that's more easily understandable for you. So, as you can see, right, it's definitely, so what kind of, right? It simplified everything as opposed to those big categories. It broke it down into diet, exercise, sleep, recent proof. So the ability to understand, that, and that's super important as we, look at these complex issues. You can also copy this and post it in a document. But here's really what's amazing. So we're going to click on this, and we're going to make it larger here. Let's get the whole screen. And basically now you have a full presentation based off of that, all of that data. So we can go through this and really analyze each one of these slides in a way that helps us to really understand what those papers were. And one of the ways I really like to use this for my coaching clients is based on what they're going through. I'll do a bunch of research. I'll create one of these presentations, and then I'll make a video like this, right, where I'm talking and explaining, and we'll go through the whole presentation, and then I will follow up with other documents as well. So it really allows me to gather information that's really relevant to someone and then present it in a way that they're able to understand. So we'll just continue to click through these, and you can see like these are really high level, really quality slides that we could then go ahead and make a presentation for, or utilize it as part of a training, however we wanted to do it. And let's see, total 15 slides altogether. It's documenting where the research is coming from, really quite amazing. And then I'll show you the last little bit of information you're able to gather through this. And like I said, for me, this has been huge for my understanding of complex processes, and that is this ability to, you can pause this. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to listen to this via the way I'm recording all of this, but you have the ability to listen to this. You can download it so you can take it on your phone with you and see. So let me fast forward a little bit. It's 22 minutes long, and I'm just going to hit play, and I'm going to let it play for about 15 seconds just to see if we get some audio pickup. Let's see here, maybe not. So this is, like I said, this is an audio overview. And like I said, we have the ability to go in there and totally customize exactly how we want the information presented. So this becomes a really powerful tool. And like I said, hopefully anybody is able to use it. And then what we're able to do as well, right, is if we go back to the homepage here for NotebookLM, I now have a notebook here called the Bredesen Protocol Recall that I can always go back to and review it again, or pull more information out of it. It becomes like almost a second brain concept where I have all this information that I can continually go back to. So, thank you for sticking around. I did want to say, right, so all of this is free, easy to use. But if you have a Claude account, so Anthropic, Claude AI, if you have a paid account for that, I actually wrote a skill that I actually tell Claude to do all of this for me in the background. So basically, I just give it the topics I want it to search, and it goes and searches Google Scholar for everything. It searches YouTube for everything. It puts everything into this nice notebook format, and then it'll even upload to here. So then I can pull all the information out when I need it. So that's really saving me some time from going on here and manually searching YouTube and Google Scholar. Right? Like, I think it's good to go and manually search and look at things and do things, but sometimes, we don't have time. So I actually wrote a skill that you can utilize. So just send me a DM, communicate with me somehow. You can always reply to our weekly newsletter as well. Leave a comment, whatever you want to do, and just say, hey, Michael, I'd like to see that skill, and I'll gladly send it to you. So I hope this has been helpful and educational. It's a little different than our typical YouTube videos, but I wanted to kind of help give you guys some information so that you can use some of these new tools, some of these AI tools, and really amplify your level of knowledge. Thank you so much for your time. I hope you have a great day.